Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Volvo Christian, and welcome to a quite different video. Because in this video we won't be talking about Volvo at all, actually. We will actually be talking about another Swedish car brand. And sadly it won't be about Koenigsegg, it will actually be about Saab. So we're actually going to talk about Saab, their history, from when they started in Trollhättan in 1930s and how this all links up to the Emily GT that I saw last weekend at the e-car expo in Gothenburg. And before you're clicking out of this video, because you are probably in this channel for Volvo content and Volvo content only, but I find this topic really interesting, and maybe you will do too after watching this video, or maybe this video aren't for you, but I appreciate if you will stick along in this video and listen to the Saab history. Because yes, I am a Volvo enthusiast and I have a special place in my heart for Volvo, but there's tons of room left, and basically I'm a car guy at heart, not primarily a Volvo enthusiast. I love cars. I love trucks, I love bikes, I love scooters, I love everything with a motor, and not just Volvo. I love basically all cars. There's obviously some exceptions to that statement. One of the exceptions are Tesla, and basically all Teslas. They don't thrill me at all. They don't do anything for me. I don't get excited by watching a Tesla or drive a Tesla. Not my cup of tea. Despite their success and everything, everyone thinks that you should like them. Why don't you like them? I don't care about Tesla. Sorry. And also Nissan Leaf, really freaking boring. I'm not in their target group, or like the Kia Soul or something. Probably great cars individually, but they don't do anything for me. But give me a Ford Ranger Raptor, or a Ford Mustang. I'm not talking the electric crap. I'm talking about the real Mustang, American power, baby, and also Chevrolet Corvette, or almost everything from Audi, like the A4 all-round, A6, RS6, the Q8 e-tron, the e-tron GT, RS3, RS4, RS6. I think I love the whole Audi lineup. And BMW, like the X5 plug-in hybrid that just passed me. Love that car. Awesome design, and I love the seat you get in the X5. And obviously a white V70 had to drive by. Oh, I just love the V70. Oh, iconic cars. But BMW, yeah. Mercedes, the AMG lineup are pretty wicked, even the new stuff. Even though they have gotten more quiet latly. But I'm a car guy. It doesn't matter if it's German or Italian, like the Ferrari, or American or Japanese. I love so many different cars. And don't even get me started on Porsche. Oh, I love Porsche. I have a Porsche Sport Classic haunting my dreams. Oh, it's a good dream, but maybe one day. And actually, just a couple of hours ago I picked up this one. Let's see if I can get it on camera. This is a Porsche 911 Dakar Christmas edition with a Christmas tree on top. It's going to join the Porsche collection at home. I also have a Volvo collection, obviously, but have a growing number of Porsches. So that's pretty wicked. But I think that was the longest intro to any video I've had. But as you see, I can definitely include Saab or Emily GT in my passion for cars. And I have to just get it out of the way. I absolutely love the Emily GT. Head over heels in love with the Emily GT. It ticks so many boxes for me. And I will, in a heartbeat, trade in my XC40. Because this car I'm sitting in is my own Model Year 24 XC40 Recharge. While our XC60 just casually drives by to McDonald's. But I would trade in this car in a heartbeat for the Emily GT. I love the Emily GT. I don't love this car. It has some perks and advantages, but there's no love here. There was a song called "Where Is the Love." It's a Black Eyed Peas. Where is the love? Yeah, it's not here. Sorry, it's not here. But that's another discussion. But let's kick it off with the Saab history. As I said, we have to go back to the 1930s. Saab started out to produce airplanes. And during this talk now, I'm gonna overlay some pictures and video clips from the Saab museum, because last Thursday, like the day before the eCar Expo opened, I visited the Saab museum. It was the first time I visited that museum, and I'm gonna overlay some pictures and video clips. It won't necessarily correspond, or probably won't correspond at all with the timeline, but it's just, it gives you a little glimpse of or a glance at the Saab museum in Trollhättan. So let's kick it off. 1930s, producing airplanes. That was the start and the birth of Saab, and it actually took like 2 decades before they actually produced a car. They had like a prototype in like 1945 or 1946 something, but 1950 was the first like mass production, the finished car. And from then, Saab were probably living the glory days, just expanding, several or increasingly popular, with increasing numbers in production and also employees, so they had to expand and expand. And then we jump over to 1990. They were actually purchased by the American car company GM, that have massive plans for Saab and also pretty deep pockets, so they could really make a difference and take Saab to the next level. And they had big goals, big visions for Saab in the following years, but as you know, big plans doesn't necessarily mean jack shit. Plans are one thing, but following through or get it out in the real world are something else. And sadly, that story didn't turn out so good. It started out good, but then during the following years, Saab got less and less financial support from GM. So they ended up reusing old platforms, and they couldn't get enough money for R&D, also research and development. So yeah, it didn't go as planned. And then we are pushing over the 2000s, and then in 2008, GM got into major financial difficulties. That was also the year that Saab had a bunch of concept cars displayed, and some of these are on display at the Saab museum. Pretty awesome cars, and these cars show positivity and energy for the following years to come. But that was in 2008. But then 2009, GM decided they had to pull the plug. They had to sell Saab because they have big difficulties. So as said, as done, they sold Saab in 2009. Sold it to a company called Spyker. It was like a sports car company. Probably also big plans, big visions for Saab, but probably not so deep pockets, because the story are way shorter than the GM era. Only like 2 years later, Saab filed for bankruptcy, and that was December 2011. And they filed for bankruptcy, and the Saab adventure were over as we know it. Production stopped in 2011. Probably a bunch of people were fired. So it was a sad day in the car world. I actually remember reading or hearing about when Saab went bankrupt. It was a lot of commotion and articles, but I wasn't a Saab guy at the time, so it was like, okay, one company, that's I don't know. I had no connection with Saab, but the new owner was called Nevs. That was a Swedish-Chinese company. Nevs was standing for National Electric Vehicle Sweden. That was the new owner in 2011. But everything stopped. But they were the one that purchased it. And then, surprisingly enough, 2 years later, Nevs managed to get production going again at a factory in Trollhättan, and they actually produced 420 of a Saab 9.3 version in 2013 under the Saab nameplate. And one of these cars are on display at the Saab museum, and I can overlay a picture or a video clip of that one. It's a black one on display. So they actually managed to get the production going again, but then the adventure was over. They only produced the 420 cars, and then it was over. And then I think it was either in 2013 or 2014 that Nevs lost the rights to use the Saab nameplate. They couldn't use Saab anymore. But I heard somewhere that on the Chinese parts of Nevs, they actually produced the cars at a Chinese factory for the Chinese market, maybe under a different nameplate. But then it went quiet. After 2013, I don't know what the heck happened, because we have to jump over to 2019 before any major things happened. And then Nevs got a new owner called Evergrand. That was in 2019. And it was at that time the Emily GT project came to, because Evergrand had a vision of what they wanted, like a SUV kind of car, and they wanted Nevs to make it happen. And Nevs at that time were about of 350 previous Saab engineers, as far as I know, and they got the chance to make a car for Evergrand. So they went back to Trollhättan, sketched up a car, and gave it to Evergrand and said, yeah, this is what we can do. It was not a SUV, it was like a low slung sedan limousine. And actually, from the first initial sketch of the Emily GT, it only took like 9 or 10 months before they had an actual production car. And that was just a record, even today. Because usually this development from sketch to car takes several years. Like the Porsche the car. They have actually been working on the Porsche the car for, I think it was like 10 years or something. They had the 911 obviously, but they were just continuing developing, and then now it got launched. So it takes a lot of time, but it took like 9 or 10 months from first sketch to the actual car. And Evergrand was the one that founded the whole project, the whole Emily GT project. They had pretty deep pockets, and they put it all in, put a lot of it into the Emily GT project. And next to the Emily GT, they also developed a car or project called Pons. It was a self-driving urban taxi thing. So they were these two cars they developed. But then the story takes a hit. Disaster happens in 2021. When now 2 years later, Evergrand had to pull the plug on the Emily GT project. They couldn't put more money into that project. And then, yeah, 2021. And then it went quiet again. And we have to fast forward to early 2023, so this year. It was like January, February. Nevs are in big financial troubles. They have to sell the entire Emily GT project. But before it got official, they started to reduce the number of employees. They have gotten the command from Evergrand to just lose everyone that's not completely necessary for the brand to allow to the operation to work in like hibernation mode, or just keep the minimal amount of staff. It was like 20 people as far as I know. So the February, and started to sell out or sell parts of the factory. And then in March or April, they went public with the Emily GT, letting like Top Gear and other journalists test it and visit the factory area where they produced the Emily GT. And they have actually produced 6 Emily GTs. So they went public saying we want to sell this entire Emily and Pons project. there's no more money in our bank account. We are we are all out, so we have to sell everything. And rumor has it that they found a potential buyer in Switzerland or something in August, September, but we didn't hear anything else. And then we fast forward to November, so last month. I heard that the Emily GT were going to the e-car expo in Gothenburg. So it's just one thing to do. One chance, one opportunity to see the Emily GT live. I was definitely jumping on that one. And it was, at that time, I started to really dive into the Saab history and the Emily GT, and just fell completely in love with the Emily GT. I've seen so many YouTube videos of the Emily GT. I'm just head over heels. So I saw it live, but the day before the e-car expo opened, I got a mail from my press contact at the e-car expo saying that Nevs had big news regarding production in Trollhättan. Obviously, it was just, yeah, any guy can think of that, yeah, they have found a buyer and they will produce it in Trollhättan. So far so good, you think. Then the day after, Friday, 12 o'clock, press conference. Nevs had found a buyer. It was a company called Electra. Apparently, they were a tech company from Canada, and the owner was from Lebanon, like a multi-millionaire, billionaire, either way, freaking loaded. He had bought the entire project, and he wanted to start production in Trollhättan within the next 6 months. And you know, if something's too good to, if something sounds too good to be true, then yeah, you know that quote. I haven't heard anything about Electra, so I started, who are these guys? And my concern for the Emily GT project were like this before I started to Google. And then yeah. So this will be another story of the Saab history with financial difficulties, and yeah, this will probably be the last nail in the chest or something. I think this is the killer punch, because, as I said, my concerns got massively higher after starting to Google it, because this company doesn't seem like a car company. They had a factory in Turkey or something producing a weird little thing, but I don't think they have what it takes to get this thing to get this Emily in production, because he said they want to buy back the factory, because Nevs had to sell like 80% of the factory area to the municipality in Trollhättan, and apparently they're gonna buy this back and get the employees back. But it's like a decade since Saab went bankrupt. Where are these guys and girls? Are they suddenly just gonna abandon their new jobs and just run to Electra and suddenly get the production going? And also at that price that this Electra, assumed that it would be like $60,000 to $80,000. But the guys at Nevs said that the actual car, if they want to set it in production and get a estimate of what it would cost, it would be like 1.2 million, like 120,000 something dollars. So they're not quite agreeing on the price, but I don't think we're gonna see it in production, sadly. But that was I thought big plans. Maybe he's got pretty deep pockets. He's like a multi-millionaire, and applaud that he has faith in Emily GT. And I hope he managed to do it. I will clap him the whole freaking way. But my hopes were heavily decreased. And then Monday, so like just 5-6 days ago, I saw a video on YouTube, and I'm gonna link it or just write it under here. It's from a guy called, I think it's Peter, at least his last name is SE. Peter SE. It's a Swedish guy. The video are on Swedish, but maybe you can translate that. And he pulled it even further. He had investigated the EV Electra, really deep dive into, further than I had. I really applaud that guy for great journalism, really investigating and diving deep into EV Electra. But he took it one step further. Now, it wasn't just a matter of will this guy manage to put the EV Electra in production, but the bigger question, is this a scam? Are EV Electra just a scam that wants to steal the Emily GT project? Just take it, buy the rights, buy everything, and just take the whole project out and just produce a copy thing for in Turkey for his own use. Yeah. So this could be the end of the legacy of Saab, or Saab history and Emily GT. This could be the final, the last nail in the chest, if this is if this will happen, because they had several interviews with this guy, Jihad Mohammed, on Friday, Saturday, and I saw him. I think I saw him on Sunday also. There were several interviews, and there were a shitload of questions, and they couldn't really answer them all. And at one point, this guy, owner of EV Electra, because he was getting a bunch of like critical questions. How will you do it? How will you get the staff back? How will you get production going so fast at a factory that's been closed for a decade? How the heck are you going to put it in mass production? And at one point, I think he got just annoyed, because he said, like, if I get any more hate now, I'll just take the whole thing and just piss off. Yeah, so I don't know. I think he could do it if he gets more hate, but I don't know. I don't know what to think, but that is probably the end of the Saab as we know it, and sadly also the Emily GT. So yeah, I think I have to keep on driving my XC40 for a while. Can't be driving an Emily GT, but now I have to head into McDonald's for some food. But I hope you enjoyed this video either way. And tomorrow's video will be exclusively about the Emily GT, and I really hope you will enjoy it. I see it's getting pretty dark here in the video monitor, but yeah. Thank you for watching this lengthy one, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and bye bye.